it might seem like a waste of time, but responding to like even just the top 10 comments that come out when you first drop a video, that's going to help your engagement so much because not only does that keep it in the algorithm because it's you're getting more comments from that, people will respond to those comments again generally, and then also other people just in terms of community engagement, you're engaging with the fans and the followers and things like that.
Today, I have Alex Hilson with me, and I have had the absolute pleasure of working with Alex. And what I admire about him is not only his storytelling ability, but the skill to execute on his stories. Alex, I'm absolutely blown away by what you've built and where your career has gone. Welcome to Cinch Media.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And so, Alex, for those of you who are not familiar with you and Animunch, can you give us a little recap of who you are and what you've created?
Yep. So my name's Alex. Yeah, so I love all things video creation, animation, comedy animation, content strategy. So that's sort of the world that I'm in at the moment. And a few years ago, I started making animations, just like short comedy animations for YouTube and social media under Animunch, which is just, yeah, the brand I do it under. And then, yeah, just the last few years, I've been just working really hard to sort of put out as much stuff as I can and grow the numbers and just, yeah, sort of build an audience for myself. So, yeah, that's why learn a few things from that. Yeah.
Amazing. And I think what I'm so in awe of is the fact that you've just done it. Because where a lot of my clients are getting stuck, and I think where as an industry we're getting stuck, is we don't know how to just get started. We don't know how to just get content onto YouTube. And so, did you ever seek funding? Or, I mean, you're highly skilled. So, you have the ability to edit and animate, and you're a one-man show, which I think is another note for everyone to start really considering that as we move into this digital kind of society, you've got to have a few different skills under your belt. So did you bootstrap and just go for it, or did you seek funding?
I just went for it, honestly. I think just anyone looking to start is just not to, you shouldn't overthink it because it's going to be the sort of thing where you just have to start, have a play around, put some stuff out, and then you'll start to sort of work things out from that point because you'll start to see what's working and what's not. For me personally, I just bootstrapped it. There was no funding. Like I registered Animunch as like I took the username on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube when I was 19. I didn't have any of the skills I've got now. I knew that all right, that's what I want to do it under. Let me get that done now so that I can come back to that later on. So early days, I was just like a few years ago was when I actually started putting stuff out regularly. There was no strategy to begin with. I just knew that just have to jump into this and I'm just going to learn as I go. I'd been making YouTube videos since I was a kid, so I had sort of that knowledge. But yeah, my mentality was let's just jump into this, start making stuff, and basically just see what sticks to begin with. So yeah, there was no funding in the early days whatsoever. It was just I love doing this and let me see what works. Yeah.
And I love that. And I think there's something really important in that because a lot of people are thinking, right, we need to put our best content on YouTube to launch. Whereas the flip side to that is get into YouTube, have like a low cost, low risk approach and just start putting content out because the first time you post is never going to be your best performance because you have to learn the YouTube algorithms, you need to understand your audience. And so it's okay to do a low budget shoot or to put content on there that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg in order to grow over time because it's a marathon, not a sprint. Am I right, Alex?
Exactly. Just, yeah, you just need to start. And the other thing that's also worth mentioning is just like the amount that you're going to learn, like rather than just going in and being like, all right, thinking you need to have this 100% foolproof plan going in. The reality is the amount that you're going to learn from even just putting that first video out to that second video, you're going to be like, oh, that didn't work well. Oh, this is what I should have done instead, rather than trying to do this huge plan to begin with. Yeah, like you're saying, just start putting stuff out and you're going to learn so fast over those first few videos. Every YouTuber does. And that's going to help you out a lot more than trying to just assume things before you go in.
Absolutely. And for me, it's even just like the editing style. After you post a couple of videos, you're like, actually, I should be doing this, or the tone should be this, or the pace should be this, or I need more graphics. Like they're little tiny things, but over time, by tweaking those things, your videos are becoming better and better, and then they perform better, and then you can slowly start bringing the audience in. So that's great advice, Alex. And so you didn't have a strategy going into it. But how important is understanding your audience now?
It's important now. Yeah, because when I first started, I was just like, I've still got the same sense of humor. All my videos, generally on my YouTube, they're all just short animations. So I've got the same sense of humor, but just in terms of um, realizing like the things that need to be in place to really maximize reach for these things, like um, just making sure the video starts off with a bang. They're really short and sharp, just really concise. Um, Making sure they're shareable, things like that. That's sort of the way I approach it now, whereas beforehand I was just making anything and seeing how it goes.
And can I just say, the Tony Jones video,
Oh, yeah.
loved it. I loved it. I sent it to like five people. It's just that, and that's, I think, what you do so well is that you can get topical or trending themes and you can quickly pivot, you can quickly make content. And that's a thing, we have to stop overthinking, we have to stop going into months of development, and it's all about jumping on trends and trying to, show up culturally with what people are talking about. And so for me, that Tony Jones video had me rolling on the floor with laughter. And I love that type of humor.
Yeah.
But like how quickly could you turn something like that around?
That was a few days. So I think that came out in the news. Let me think. I put that on the Friday. That came out on the news maybe like the Tuesday or something, and then after that decided, all right, let's tackle this and try and turn it into an animation. Came up with the idea, storyboarded, and then executed with the animation, and then put it out on the Friday. I think the Novak Djokovic had just retired from his set, and because he's mentioned in the video, we're like, drop it now.
So
Now's the
good.
time.
See, that's that strategy coming in of and so how important is having like a search engine optimized strategy as well?
All right, this is very important. So this is where like content strategy comes in. So just for like a bit of context and a bit of backstory, my YouTube, I feel like it's always the last few years, it's been the same quality, but I didn't know anything about SEO. I didn't know anything about thumbnails. I wasn't trying to make things like hook lines at the start of videos and things like that. So SEO is really important, especially if you plan to do YouTube long term, because tags, making sure the titles are optimized, the thumbnails, testing out different thumbnails. This is all stuff that's going to get your videos ranked much higher in the algorithm. Now the content still has to be quality. That's also worth mentioning. But the in order for the SEO to work, you need to have just a good video, and then making sure you're giving your video the best chance of being seen in the algorithm. And if you use there's different plugins and stuff that I use for SEO, and basically it gives you an SEO score of like this is roughly where a weighted ranking in the algorithm. This is roughly where it's going to stand. The higher you can get that score, the better off your video is going to perform. It's really important for long-term strategy and YouTubing long term. Yeah.
Absolutely. And did that take you a while to kind of learn and to implement in your practice?
It did. I think initially I just didn't want to do it from pure laziness, I'll be honest, because I'd be lying if I said this stuff doesn't take time to do, and it can be a bit annoying to like if you're putting out videos constantly, doing the SEO can get a little bit annoying, but just now that I've personally seen the growth you can have off that, it's worth investing a bit of time into that. So, um, yeah, I definitely recommend it. Yeah.
I think that's a great piece of advice because from the outside, it looks really easy having a YouTube channel. But I know, and you know, that it's extremely time consuming. However, you need to weigh up the importance of it versus the time. And so I know that there's a lot of clients of mine and a lot of production companies that they know they have to be on YouTube, but they don't really want to put any money or any resources into it. How important is it kind of having the right expectations when you go into YouTube? Because obviously, if you're going to do something, you want to do it well. And so, what have you learned over time from when it was a hobby to now being, part of your business model essentially?
It's definitely worth the time investment if this is something you're serious about. This is to any company or any indie creator or anything like that out there. It's definitely worth the time investment if you want to do it long term, um, because it's going to have also a compounding effect. One thing, just talking about like your expectations and things, don't expect to take off for it to take off immediately, but the more videos you put out there, it's going to have a compounding effect. It was the same on my channel. I had 4 years worth of videos out there, that were maybe getting a few thousand views at best case scenario. Then I had, I think, five went viral at once, and then all of them started going viral. So it's one of those things where the work you put in now, you might not see short-term results. Sure, you'll see results, but maybe not great short-term results. But long-term, bigger picture, you are going to see that. So it's worth the time investment, but just you have realistic expectations going in. I think on for me personally, because I just love making funny animations and stuff, like I that's enough fulfillment for me to where like whether this was going to work out or not, I was going to keep doing it because it's just something I enjoy. Um, so I think that there also needs to be something like that there as well that like set reasonable expectations, but do it if this is something you really want to do or something that's really going to positively impact your business. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to your point about, compounding, in 5 years' time, it's going to be really, really important that if you're in entertainment, that you have a YouTube page. So if you start now and you can slowly start building your content up, over time, you're going to really see the rewards of that. Alex, does this shock you? Out of the top 30 production companies in this country, only two have a YouTube page, which haven't been updated in 8 years.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's worrying. It fills me with anxiety for the future of our industry.
It doesn't shock me. I mean, it's horrible, obviously. They're shooting themselves in the foot, but like it doesn't shock me, but like we're talking about before, it's that time investment. I think potentially some production companies, if they're working purely off results, if they can't get them short term, they might think this isn't worth investing in. But like we're saying, the reality is it's a long-term game on YouTube. You really just have to be putting in the work now. Even if you're just uploading a few videos a week, just in the background, put some time away from that, you're going to see a big impact in the long term. So it
Absolutely.
doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't do that, but I suppose if you're looking at short-term results and you're not getting them, you might just be like, well, let's not invest in that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. And this is the thing, like, there's so much IP that we have that's also not being utilized. So there's old series that you could clip up. Like, there's so much scope for our industry to be populating YouTube channels without having to be like you and quickly turn around in 3 days a new animation every week. And so, can I ask you? In terms of your audience and the feedback you get, how important is that feedback loop? And do you try and create content specifically for your audience?
I do now. I do now sometimes. I think like I'm in. the fortunate position to where I've grown my socials to a point where people have the same sense of humor as me. They come because they want it, just silly animations or dark humor animations, things like that. And so half the time I'll get comments on my videos, people suggesting ideas that they know I would make. So I'll send them a message saying if it's a good idea, I'll be like, hey, can I make that? I'll credit you as, coming up with the story or whatever. So it definitely I don't do that a lot, but just the fact that I've built up an audience that understands what I'm making and they want to see more of it, the ideas they have usually are pretty valuable. And even just last Christmas, I put out a few different animations, like Christmas themed animations, and I was like, I want to come up with something really stupid, just something really left of field. What ideas have you got? And I put a poll on Instagram, and I think I had like 40 something responses, and there were a lot of good suggestions in there. And then I made one of them. And it went viral. So,
Of course it did. And so that is the perfect example of that community engagement. It's a two-way conversation with your audience because that's almost what the expectation is now for audiences, that they have that, I guess, relationship with a content creator. And so I love that story. Do you then think that that really, so your socials obviously really help your YouTube page. Can you talk a little bit about those supporting channels and how you leverage them?
yeah. So my YouTube was the hardest one to crack. Full disclosure, um, I started my TikTok initially, TikTok and Instagram, blew up first in terms of like just growth. And then they've both got really handy features that can sort of help you leverage YouTube and other platforms. Like, for instance, when my TikTok was doing really well and my YouTube was getting no numbers, there's a custom URL that you can make on YouTube for a subscriber link. And once you click it, you automatically subscribe to the channel. So, well, it's not automatically, they have to confirm it, but it's as close as you can get, right? So I found that URL and I put that in my TikTok bio, just nothing else, just the link. And I think later on I added like subscribe to my channel here or whatever because I had a few videos going viral. And then in the comments section of my TikTok videos that were doing really well, I started posting it in there as well. And I was getting a lot of engagement off that, like, because you can read the analytics on YouTube that says your new subscribers are coming from, and it'll show the platform. So once I realized you could do that, I started doing that with Instagram as well. Link in the bio, nothing really new there, but like put it in your link tree, things like that. And then also just using Instagram stories, linking. I love the URL linking feature in that as well. Link directly to the YouTube video. Um, anything like that where you can sort of get them from one platform to the other was what I was trying to leverage. So yeah, that's helped me big time. Just as each one's sort of taken off, and then YouTube was just the final one, the last Horcrux, and I got it. So yeah,
Incredible. I love that. And there's so much great advice in that. Thank you. There was so much in there about, I guess, the call to action and the click through rate and trying to get people to YouTube. Can you see and do you know off the top of your head how many of your audience are watching your content on their device, on their phone, and how many are watching on a TV?
yeah. I don't have this like the exact number with me, but highly it's mostly on the phone. On the TV, I think it was like a really low percentage. It was under 10%, way under 10%, I remember. Yeah.
Interesting, because I'm really fascinated by YouTube's push to kind of encourage TV viewing and, with their TV app. And I get the sense that they're coming for Netflix in a big way. And my preference now is to watch YouTube. At the end of the day, I'll watch YouTube on my TV. Throughout the day, I'm watching it on my phone or on my computer if I'm working, but I've started slowly watching YouTube at the end of the day where I usually would have watched drama on a streamer. And so I was really interested to hear what your kind of percentage was, I guess your content is short form, which is great for a device. Do you have any ambitions to try and create like a longer form animation for TV viewing?
We've been writing a like a short web series to pitch to Screen Australia. Haven't pitched it yet. Still writing it. Still got that going on in the background because I've got a short attention span, just like my viewers now. So that's definitely like a pipe dream. I'd love to do something like that. I think it's something I'm capable of, but it would still be it would still be aimed for YouTube. You know, however people want to digest that, whether it's on a TV or phone, is up to them. But it would still be probably a couple minutes long, just really short episodes for YouTube and TikTok. Yeah,
I think you made a really good point there. As a creator, we should be making content for our audience no matter what device or screen. I think that's a really key takeaway because I don't think we should be caught up with, oh, we want people to watch it on the TV because we know that YouTube is so popular because it comes with you throughout the day and it is on any device. And, I love the example of like, what do people watch when they're sitting on the toilet? Like it's that kind of, you want to be where your audience are at all times. Like for someone like me, I spend a lot of time in the car waiting for kids, driving kids, just sitting in the car. So I like to then watch something on my phone. And then when you look at TV viewing, it's really only people that are sitting down at the end of the day, or, maybe it's the weekend and they're going to watch content, but you're really narrowing your window of opportunity if you're making something just for the TV screen. So that's
exactly.
really interesting, Alex.
Why? I mean, I also haven't owned a TV for like 6 years, so like
See, your generation fascinate me. And you're not alone. So many people are not buying TVs.
I think it's yeah, I'm just if I'm going to watch something, I'm probably the exact same as my audience. I'm going to watch it on my phone or obviously I'm on the PC right now, which is where I do most of my work. But I'll still watch if I'll watch YouTube on my computer. I'll have it playing in the background. I don't unless I'm with a friend, very rarely will I just sit down and watch something. Yeah.
You've just honestly, you've raised something so important. So, for anyone watching from the trad media industry, that is your future audience. They don't have a TV. And so, I can't wait to see house tours in the future where, like, the lounge room, the wall, there's nothing on the wall. What's on your lounge room wall, Alex? You don't
I
have a
don't even have a
TV.
couch in my lounge. So maybe I'm not the best base model to
No,
be
but you're right. Like so many people in your age group and the younger demos, they're not buying TVs because they feel like they don't need one. And that's a really, really important part of what we should be thinking about in terms of, producers. So, yeah, really interesting. I feel like there's going to be more artwork on the wall, and your
yeah,
TV. And that means your couch can face any way. It doesn't have to face the TV.
exactly. Yeah.
So Alex, can I ask you about monetization? Because again,
Yes.
this is a very hot topic. It's on a lot of people's minds. How how did you start monetizing, and what are some of your strategies to monetize?
Okay. So there's a few different avenues you can go down. So the first thing for me was I think I first started the first platform I was earning money off was Facebook was Meta ads, I think. Um, So don't sleep on Facebook. To anyone listening, I know that like use Meta and for all it's worth because it's as simple as you can cross post on both at the same time. And at times that can sometimes make more than my actual YouTube monetization. So yeah, my first thing would be if you're using Meta and your platform's going to be on, if you're going to use YouTube and Meta as your platforms, the same reels that you're going to be putting out on YouTube, make sure you put them out on Meta as well. It definitely helps that I'm doing comedy, so in general, those are more shareable, I'd say. Um, but yeah, put them out there, and I think you need to have I think 10,000 followers on Facebook um to earn money from Meta. And then I think it's the same for Instagram ads. So that's the first one. So definitely go down that avenue, invest in that as well. Doesn't take that much longer. Now on YouTube, on the other hand, so I think you need to have 4,000 watch hours, and you need to have had, I think they may have changed it now, but I was monetized, I think like the start of 2023. And at the time, you needed to have 5 million or 10 million views or something within a 6 month span. So I'm not going to pretend that that's an easy feat for anyone out there or, any businesses. I'm not downplaying that. I had a bunch of videos go viral at once, which definitely helped my case. Um, but it's definitely worth enabling. It's just done through Google AdSense. So invest the time in now. And then eventually, yeah, if you're still putting videos out every week, eventually you will cross that path. Um, Now that's not the mo if you plan on putting video out and living off that income, that is not easy. So there are other avenues you can go down. Um, so for me, I've also got channel memberships. There's different things you can do. It just depends on if you're a business that just wants to advertise the stuff your company's making, that's one thing. If you're an indie creator like me or someone that's working in the arts and you're sort of a one-man band or a small team of people, yeah, I would suggest enabling YouTube monetization as soon as you can. Channel memberships. So YouTube introduced this, I think last year or 2023. It was to rival a website called Patreon, which is also really good. And basically, your members can just pay a small membership fee. You get, I think, the majority of that percentage. I should probably know that actually because I've got channel memberships, but they take a really small cut. And basically, it's just another avenue of your creators being able to support you directly rather than, if they don't want to invest in streaming services or whatever, they can just go straight to the source. So that's one avenue. That's the one that I'm doing. Now you can also, I've got a few friends that also have a Patreon and channel memberships. I say go for it. Whether I don't know if your members might be a little pissed off that they're getting the same thing on both. But it's just another way for creators to be able to earn income off what they're making directly. But yeah, I would say Patreon is the other big one because it's the exact same as channel memberships. Yeah, so they all these things you can do, they're all going to help you as a creator or business monetize your videos.
Absolutely. And have you done any sponsorship agreements at all?
Um, I haven't with either. I haven't with um, do you mean like on ads, like sponsored ads?
Yeah, have you done any brand integration?
I have. I've done one ad. I get a lot of offers for very questionable products that I won't name the brands, but I get a lot of weird offers for things that I encourage any, brand sponsorship offer to come my way, but a lot of the time it's just things where it's like there's no way that's going to naturally work in my video. Like, how can I introduce this obscure vacuum cleaner head in this animation about like Peppa Pig or something? Like, I'm how am I going to make that work? But this is where, like, for instance, I know a lot of animation creators or just YouTubers in general, where in order to do sponsored ads, they have to start making different content as well. Like, I know animators that also do video essays. They also do breakdown videos, anything that's not just animation and can have some more human elements. That's where the sponsorships work a lot better because it appears a lot more natural when you can see a person and they start introducing a product. So from my standpoint, I get those offers, but a lot of the time it's just stuff that I can't integrate into an animation because it's too obscure and it doesn't mesh well. Yeah,
I love that you say no when it doesn't feel organic because there's nothing worse. I don't think it's effective because when I see someone sell something that is just completely insane, I know that I'm not ever gonna, I don't take their word for it. I don't buy it. And it
exactly.
does, it's a problem in our industry where there's been a couple of TV series or networks in the past that have just done these wild brand integrations or like influencer integrations, and you're just like, no one's buying this. Like, no one is believing what you're putting out. So I think that's a really important aspect. And I think it's great for your long-term strategy as well, because you don't want to seem like a sellout that, you'll sell anything for money. But I wonder why people think you're a weirdo, Alex, and just give you these weird brands.
Look, I welcome it. Because I still get like, the other thing as well, just to be wary of. I mean, this is just a side note, if anything. I also get a lot of fake phishing scams that pretend to be sponsors. This is unfortunately not spoken a lot about online, but once you're a creator on platforms and you build a big following, unfortunately, this is just something that happens. I've got a lot of mates that also have built up YouTube accounts that are like 400,000 subscribers, 600,000, whatever, and they are constantly bombarded with this stuff as well. So this isn't something to be wary of for a new creator, but someone that's been in it for a while. It's just unfortunately you'll get a lot of this stuff as well. So I'm deciphering between the weird ones that I don't think I can make work and the ones that are just a straight up phishing scam that I have to quickly check Reddit to see if it's legit, and everyone says no. So it's just a side note, but yeah,
A lot of navigating. It's
yeah.
so true. Like when I first posted my first ever YouTube video, I got so excited because I had an email saying that I had a comment, and I was like, "Oh my God, someone's commented on my video. I'm so happy." And it was a phishing scam, and I was like, "Oh no, how embarrassing."
Oh, that's better than my first comments. I remember like my first few videos, it was just like you suck and like terrible grammar and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, well, it comes with the territory, I suppose.
It does. It does. And that's why I think that community management is important as well, to like, go through the comments, delete the ones that are straight up scams, delete, hide anything that's a bit offensive. And, there is a lot of what I'm hearing from you, Alex, is there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to having a YouTube page.
There is. There's a lot of things apart from the strategy just to be like aware of, like those weird emails and stuff that were coming through. Um, there are ways to like avoid some of this stuff like on it's not as prevalent on Instagram, but like sometimes I'll like hide certain keyword comments on Instagram if I know that there's going to be like just bot accounts or whatever, because that this is something that happens a lot. If you just go through any viral video, you're going to see a lot of bots, a lot of people saying support my page or whatever, or check out this product. I've like hidden anything with the word product in it on my Instagram, so all of that's completely filtered out. No one's seeing it. Not that that's like a big issue for anyone watching. It just annoys me personally getting those comments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a great. And this is the thing, like you've learned all of this over time. So, you've really flexed your kind of online digital strategy muscles by just being there. And I think that's the important takeaway is, as anyone in entertainment, this is a new skill that you're going to have to have. You're going to have to understand YouTube. You're going to know how to like get into the nitty-gritty of it. So I think what you've explained is great, for people to know that there's a whole lot of other admin and that you need skills to be able to utilize YouTube. And I think, we're becoming lifelong learners now because technology is moving so fast. So I think for the likes of you, and you really inspired me to like get into YouTube and understand how it works, because it changes very quickly as well, doesn't it? So how do you pivot when YouTube decide to throw the rules out or integrate something else or change their algorithm?
Well, the good part is, I sort of they're all transferable skills is the way I look at it. So I've built up a skill set from the algorithms while they're different on YouTube and Meta and TikTok. They're all roughly it's the same game plan, really. It's the same strategy. There's just different posting times, maybe different thumbnails, different ways of going about it, but they're all transferable skills in the sense that once you sort of work out, all right, this is how it works well for Instagram, this is working well for TikTok. They all sort of, because they all share roughly the same skill set, By the time the new platform comes around, you're going to be prepared more, you know. You just have to stay current with the ones that you are using. And just as they introduce new features, like I try to stay on top of it. Um, because yeah, I'm also, I use a program called TubeBuddy for SEO, and they also let you know the moment a new feature drops, or they're not always accurate as to when it drops in Australia, because sometimes when it says this has dropped, usually for Australia, that's going to be 6 months later for some reason. So that's, I mean,
Great.
that's neither here or there, but and so it tells me in that tool that I use, these are the new features that are being rolled out, and I go, all right, let me check that out. Usually they're very just like they're usually very small features, but they do actually help you long term if you can just integrate that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
I'd say just stay familiar with it, and once you've built up the ones that are current now, or sorry, the ones that are popular now, by the time something new rolls around, you'll be prepared, and that's why like I mean, in the last like 2 years, I can't even tell you how many new. You know how like every 6 months they're like, oh, there's this new platform that's your same thing with Threads. Like when that drops, and I'm like, I quickly jump on it. I'm like, quick, let me get that Animuch username so quick. I do that. I do that no matter whether I think it's going to take off or not. I jump on it so quick, just so I've got that locked off, and then I'm like, I don't have to worry about it now. We'll see how the next few days goes, and usually it's phased out by then.
Exactly. You're a name hoarder. You've got Animunch everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think well, it's important because I think like the bigger your channel gets as well. This hasn't happened to me personally, but the bigger your channel gets and the more people are aware of it, even just people making fan accounts and stuff like that. I've got that on TikTok. If you look up Animunch, there's like 8 accounts that come up. So it's like it can also be one of those things where someone, whether they're doing it intentionally or not, might just make something like that and realize, oh, actually that's available. Let me grab that. So if you're a business out there or whatever, and you want to get on these platforms, jump on it as soon as you can. So that person isn't saying, oh, well, you know, you can have this username if you send me a few $1,000s or whatever. Like, because I've heard of that happening as well.
Same. It's like domain names as well. Like try and I guess get as many names similar as possible. So,
Yeah.
you know, they can't be like Animunch one, which anyone would know that's not the main account. But you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to get like three handles for your business if you are going to get on, you know, socials. So that's great advice, Alex. Now,
Spend the extra $15 in getting those extra domains, I reckon.
just get them. It's
Yeah,
15 bucks.
exactly. Yeah.
And so, Alex, I remember we were working together when you clocked up 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing milestone. And, you know, I'm sure for you it was like a moment of reflection to be like, wow, all those years ago, I can't believe that this is where I am now. You've recently helped another page grow their subscribers. Can you give us some of the strategies or tips in how you were able to grow their account?
Yep. So another really great studio here in Melbourne. Um, they essentially they just make incredible stuff, and we've also got the exact same sense of humor. Both make really immature, like just stupid animations. And yeah, they were just like, look, they were seeing what I was doing with my YouTube, and they just said, is there any way you can help us? Because we're not sure how to exactly to approach it. And I said, show me everything you've got, everything we've got to work with. And they just showed me this plethora of content. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a field day with this. So basically they were in a situation where they had already made all this amazing stuff. They didn't know how to roll it out and package it up the right way. And also, they had made stuff that was exclusively not available anywhere else on the internet. And it was, I won't name the show, but it was for a show that was very popular on streaming at the time. And I said, well, we have to start with that. We need to get that out immediately. You guys are the only ones that have access to it. So my strategy going in was, here's all this content. They've got enough for like, I think it was like 6 to 8 months worth of stuff. In terms of clipping it up for shorts and trying to feed into the zeitgeist of what's popular at the time. So I went in with all that, cut it all up, and worked out, all right, what if this content is relevant to things that are happening in the news now, or things that are going to be uploaded or trending on the internet in the next few months? So once I cut it all up into the funniest bits or the most engaging bits, and then started scheduling over like the course of the 6 months or so, just going, all right, these things are going to be relevant here. Let's drop this series of videos between this date and this date. Did the SEO on them so they were ranked really, so they should be ranked really well. I always say should because you can't guarantee that any video goes viral, but the more effort you put into the SEO, the better chance it's going to have to maximize its, viewership and people seeing it. So that was sort of my mentality going in was let's get all this scheduled for then. So I did that, the scheduling, the SEO, and then also there's some cool features on YouTube where you can link videos to each other. So one will just, rather than playing someone else's video, it'll auto queue up a video that you've selected. So as these videos started to go out and they started to get traction, I started going, all right, these ones are going viral. These ones are doing really well. This one with 10 million views, let's link that to the brand new uploads that are coming out right now. And as each one started to go viral, they would link to the new upload that's come out. That one would start doing well, and they would all just interconnected and started. The people that were watching it just started watching all the other videos on their channel, and started subscribing. And then I made sure that I started responding to comments. They were responding to comments. The studio. I think one thing to keep in mind is just a side note, but just in general with putting short form videos out on any platform, it might seem like a waste of time, but responding to like even just the top 10 comments that come out when you first drop a video, that's going to help your engagement so much because not only does that keep it in the algorithm because you're getting more comments from that, people will respond to those comments again generally. And then also other people, just in terms of community engagement, will see, oh, wait a minute, we can like grow like I don't know if relationship's the right term for this, but like they can see that you're engaging with the fans and the followers and things like that. So just like responding to like the top 10 comments on each video, I've noticed that tends to grow the amount of comments you're going to get on the next video because people can see, oh, look, that we can actually have a conversation here. So this is what I implemented there as well. I made sure that they were clear about like it might seem like a waste of time initially, but just do it because it's going to help you long term. And also just pinning comments because you'll get a lot of funny comments. Because of it, like I said, we both make me and this studio, we both make similar content. So there's going to be comedy fans and people that just have really funny things to say. So yeah, we started doing that and then it started growing really quickly. And after like, I think like 7 or 8 months, I think seven, they hit 100K. And yeah, we went out to dinner to celebrate. And yeah, it was great. I was as happy as they were about the 100K because I'm like, I get to go through that excitement again.
Amazing. So that's twice you've got to live that 100K subscriber excitement. Alex, so impressive, honestly. And I love what you've mentioned about the community management because that is key now. And, we do want to have communities and we want to talk to people. And that's what's really lacking for us in the screen industry is we are not talking to our audience. We have no relationship with Australian audiences, and it's a huge problem. So I love that. And also, we've got to remember that with things like comedy and TV series and films, people love talking about them. Like, how
Exactly.
often do you talk? If I'm anywhere, and I'm a big talker, but if I'm at school pickup, if I'm lining up at the fish and chip shop, I'll just be like, what are you watching? Because it's kind of like an easy conversation to have at someone at a barbecue. You watching any good shows? Like, how often do you kind of have those discussions?
Yeah,
And like the same with comedy, like, oh, did you see this? That's how humans really kind of love to integrate with one another. And I think also if you've got someone that you enjoy their content or like it's your favorite TV show and they're talking back to you as if you're not going to become a loyal subscriber, as if you're not going to watch their content because you've made that connection now. So I think that's extremely valuable
exactly. I
information.
think yeah, it's definitely worth the investment doing that. Even just those few comments. this isn't me saying that, you should respond to every inbox you get, because I also get a lot of weird inboxes. So on all of the platforms. But just responding to comments, yeah, the first few or the funny ones, it's going to help you out, because people they like to see that you're approachable in a digital sense. Like, he's not, an asshole or whatever. He will occasionally respond back to comments or talk to the people watching. Yeah.
100%. It's like I've used the example in the past. If you were like 20 years ago out somewhere and you saw a celebrity that you loved and you went up to them, and if they gave you the cold shoulder, you'd be like, oh, I hate them. But if they were like, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'll give you an autograph, then, you're going to love them. And that was me. I was that person that would go up to like neighbors stars when I was a teenager and I'd be like, can I have your autograph?
I
But like,
wonder, I wonder what they do for autographs now. I can't imagine
selfie.
someone. Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is like, just here, type your name into my notes app or something. Like, I don't know how that would work. Like, yeah, selfie, of course, would be the
Yeah,
equivalent
it's a
now.
selfie because I used to have like an autograph book that I'd keep all my autographs, but like you're not going to walk around with an autograph book, are you?
No.
But yeah, I remember that vividly. Like if I were, I was a fan of a show, it really meant a lot to me that, you could talk to them. And I think back then it was a lot harder because we were living in this traditional media landscape where the media were the only people who could talk to the audience. Whereas now we have the ability to talk directly to our audience. So it's a completely different connection now. And it doesn't take that long to reply to comments either. You could give yourself like an hour a day I'm going to spend replying to comments and checking in.
Exactly. I only do it in the first like few hours that my when I drop a video, because that's the most crucial part. Once it's been a few days in your videos, it's grown legs and it's taking off or whatever. At that point, you don't need to worry about it because the algorithm's got it. But when it's fresh into the algorithm, just to give it that best chance and just see how people are responding, that's when I think it's the most critical time to do it.
Another golden piece of advice. Alex, I've gotten so much out of this chat and this conversation. I'm so in awe of what you've built, and you're so clever and you're very funny. So, for anyone watching this, you must go over and check out the Animunch YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram pages. If you like to laugh, then that's exactly where you need to be. And Alex, are you on LinkedIn as well? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that could really use your brain and your consulting. I'll link to all of Alex's pages and his information below, but I just can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing all of your learnings with us. And I cannot wait to see your very bright future, because I know you're going to go on to do incredible things for the Australian entertainment industry. So bravo.
If anyone can learn anything from this, you're welcome. And thank you for watching.
Well, unlike you, I have 6 views on my videos, so I'm
It'll
going to
grow.
take all of these strategies and grow my channel.
Like I said, long term, long term.
Long
Don't worry about the
term.
shot.
Don't think about it now.